Well, that sucked. That disaster happened last week when I tried to part off a piece of mild steel using this Chinese or Indian made copy of a Dickson quick change tool post, and that was the first time using a quick change tool post for me. Some say these Chinese or Indian made copies are a piece of shit. I don't know, these tool holders, they seem to fit perfectly, and there really isn't anything wrong with the machining on this thing. It's also hard, because I wasn't able to drill a hole through this modified tool holder, and I did use cobalt drill bits that should be better at drilling through hard material. I'm not sure if this is hardened through and through. It might only be surface hardened. But another explanation for the problem might be the loose fit on the lathe's compound slide. So it is possible that this tool post moved ever so slightly during parting off. Unfortunately, the underside of the tool post is rather flat, and that makes it hard to machine something that will center and fix the tool post to the compound slide. Although I have considered using this hole here to just bolt the tool post to the compound slide. But I guess I'm chicken shit when it comes to drilling holes in my lathe. Besides, I don't have any 7mm bolts. They do exist, but they are not very common. Lucky for me, I happen to also have a original Dickson quick change tool post. I cleaned it up, and I think it should have some life left in it. But the nice thing of this tool post, it has a big hole underneath, and together with the hole in the compound slide, I could make some sort of hockey puck that will center this tool post and keep it in place, and that will definitely help with the parting off rigidity, I hope. At some point I will bore out this HBM tool post to the same dimensions as the original one. Hopefully it won't be too hard, but carbide should beat anything, and it is certainly harder than a cobalt drill bit. And it will be a good challenge for those blue nano inserts that I've been testing lately. But first I need to wait till my new test indicator arrives. I dropped the old one, and it didn't survive the impact, because now the pointy bit is gone. Or what's it called? A stylus? I don't know. Lucky for me it was a Banggood cheapie. A new one has been ordered, but it can take a long time before it gets here. It depends on when the Chinese plane heading for the Netherlands is filled up. It won't take off earlier, not even for me. This here is what I'm going to repurpose to make my hockey puck or adapter or a bushing, fat washer, whatever you want to call it. You might have seen this one before. I made it last winter, and I used it to transfer the outside spindle dimensions to the backing plate I was making. It was winter, and it turned out to be too small when it cooled down. I had to make another one that was 46mm at the ambient temperature at the time. And I guess I learned an important lesson that day. Always wear gloves in the winter. This gets pretty cold. A bit more than 4mm deep. And it's 30mm wide. I knew that. And this is almost 20. And that's 9.5. Huh. That's actually pretty small. So after using my brain cells for a little bit, I have decided that this piece here is too big. It's also rather short. So I found this. It's still too big, but also still too short. So after digging around in the scraptonium chest for a while, I found this piece. And you guys might have actually seen this before. I used the same material to turn a MT4 taper for a drill chuck. And it used to be part of an old lathe, so it is kind of fitting to use this. Let's use this 100-year-old Smurf lathe for this little project. I haven't really touched her in months, and she gets a little cranky when neglected for too long. But when you got 3 working lathes, it gets hard to service them all fairly. I just scraped off all of the layers of paint and used some sandpaper. Nasty business. But I won't show you that on camera, because it is rather boring. Just as boring as painting videos, de-rusting videos, and don't get me started about videos about electrolysis. I hate those. They just don't work. And trust me, I tried. You end up with some brown water, and you still need to put in a lot of elbow grease to get things clean. In theory it should work, but in practice it just sucks. Unbelievable. Check this out. Click. No run. Just, it refuses to run. That's one cranky bitch. I've checked the resistance in the motor, and I don't see any reason why it shouldn't run. I have also reset the VFD, but it still doesn't work. So now I hooked up an old Allen Bradley drive in a not very professional manner, and now it's time to try this out. I was too lazy to hook up the earth. This is not the same drive as I was using on the other lathe. This one might not even work. Start. Nothing. It might be set to external control. I'll check the configuration. It was indeed set to external control. It's probably set to an external pot meter. Let me check. Half of this display is kaput. There it goes. It runs 60 something hertz. Cannot read it. That's not bad for a 32-year-old drive, but I'm afraid the Chinese one might be defective. This kinda sucks, but on the other hand it is a bit ironic, don't you think? I will continue this project on the Chinese lathe. The other lathe is not an option because the throat of the chuck isn't large enough. Oops. I'm going to use the HBM tool post for this. Then I can use the other one for some test fitting. No, it's also not fitting. That sucks. I could cut it in half so I won't have as much overhang, or I could use the tailstock. Tailstock will be fine, I guess. Let's do that. Pretty rough. Try again with a bit more speed. Doesn't look much better. Doesn't feel any better. Normally I would accept this, as it really doesn't matter. But now that I have a quick change tool post, I can easily change to another tool and try again. A little bit better again. Still not perfect, far from it, but it looks polishable, acceptable. The mating surfaces on the holders, they do get dirty after using them. That's kind of annoying. That will slow down the quick change. The tailstock is in the way. I wish I had one of those Dickson holders that has 3 positions for tool holders. I will extend the tailstock as far as it goes, but it might not be enough. Nope, like I expected, it won't move far enough. The short quill on this lathe is one of its drawbacks. I guess I will have to use the 4-way tool post for this. Then I would have enough room. What's the point of having a quick change tool post if you cannot really use it? And it's back. Let the shimming begin. So that's where I need to go. About 9 millimeters deep. But 9.5 is also okay. Now I'm going to turn down this section to about 20 millimeters, and I will use the tool post to get the final fit. chitter. I guess I will need to take lighter cuts. .3, closer than I thought. .20.5. I'll take one more cut and then I'll start test fitting. It's kind of hard to precisely measure the inside of that hole in the tool post. The surface finish I'm getting is better than my usual standard. Don't believe it. I did it again. I'm pretty far off. That's not even close. That's what you get when you're trying to rush things. Now I could just start over and pretend this never happened, but we all know that's not my style. I will cut off this part here and drill a new center hole and start over again tomorrow when it's Saturday and I got all the time of the world. All gone, like it never happened. It's a little bit warm, but I think this triangular insert did a better job than that blue nano insert. Interesting. Alright, I'm picking this up where I screwed up yesterday. I'm currently at 20.3, so it's time for test fitting, but first a little chamfer. Yeah, that's not going to fit. Well, I will remove a little bit more material, and when I think I'm close, I will use some sandpaper. I like to use a hone or a stone to knock off any possible high spot in the center that that might influence the center drill. Alright, time to start over again. For the third time I'm very close to the final size that I need. This time I switched to a high-speed steel tool bit because that insert gave me a hard time when taking very light cuts, and that hasn't improved the surface finish. Hopefully this high-speed steel tool bit will do better. I'm going to slow down the lathe to 550 RPM. I think that should be about right. I wish wish I had automatic feet on this lathe. Well, that surface finish definitely got a little better. I guess I'm going to test fit again. Better safe than sorry. I hate to go for a fourth round. Sounds like a chicken is about to lay an egg or something. He's making quite a racket. It's annoying how they can keep squawking. So close. Well, I'll take another very light cut. Wish me luck. I'm getting very close, but I have no idea how much more I should take off. On the previous cut, the tool bit got a little dull, and I had to stone off a very slight burr, or maybe some material got welded to the tip, I don't know. It was hard to see, but I could definitely feel it. Now the surface finish is very acceptable after some very light polishing. So close. I don't know if you can see that little groove there. It's from test fitting the tool post. And I'm thinking if I can polish that out, it might slip on. Well, this might take a long time. We need more polishing. To be sure, I'm also polishing this bore a little bit. Maybe I should chuck it up in the forge jar. But to be honest, I hate changing chucks on this lathe. I prefer a screw-on chuck. I really should buy a new stone one day, but I keep forgetting to do that. Well, it still works, and that's the important bit. And still it won't go on. Maybe I should just force it. I've done a lot of filing and polishing, but it still won't fit. I even tried lapping compound, but I wasn't brave enough to spin the lathe, so it didn't do much. There might be a slight taper in the part here because of all the polishing, but it shouldn't be much, maybe 1/100th of a millimeter. But I'm really starting to think that there is a significant taper inside the hole here, because if you slip it on, there's a lot of play. And it looks like I'm slowly screwing this up. it won't go on any further. So I tore off a very small strip of emery cloth, and now I'm going to try and polish the inside here, so I can get this to fit. Well, the tool post finally fits on the workpiece. Thank God. It isn't a brilliant fit, but it does go on. I don't feel any side to side plate, so that's good. But there definitely is a bit of a taper. Probably on the workpiece because of my polishing, and definitely inside the hole of the tool post. And those combined get significantly. Well, I guess I will have to live with this, because I don't think I can do a better job. And I pretty much had it with this. Besides, the sun is going to hit the lathe at any moment now, and then it becomes difficult to film here, so I'm going to take a break. It's still pretty hard to take this off. There it is. I'm back, and it's now evening, so the sun has passed. We had some great weather today, so I didn't do anything this afternoon. So this video is going to be delayed a bit. But I did do some editing. And this is going to be a long one. It might even break a record. Next step, I need to turn this down to 30 millimeters. God damn it. It wasn't in gear properly. Sorry about that. Need to switch back to the insert tool bit. I'm going to give this blue nano insert another try, so I can compare it a little bit better with the triangular insert I was using. I think it should be on the same height, so I'm using the same stack of shims. I think I needed to take lighter cuts than with the other tool bit. Pretty rough. I suspect there is something wrong with that insert. Definitely better, but not perfect. Let's take a measurement before I overshoot the mark. .9. So that should be close, but not on size. I will do that on the other lathe. Next I'm going to drill a hole. The tool post bolt is thinner over here in the lower section. That's 8.84 and the thread measures 9.8. I'm going to drill a 10mm hole, but I have considered drilling the hole 8.5mm and then tap some thread in it. Then it would have a tighter fit on this lower section, but I don't think it would matter much. Besides, then I wouldn't be able to quickly change the quick change tool post for the 4-way tool post or my boring bar holder. I thought I would give those fancy ground drill bits another try before I regrind them at some point. A bit slower. Well, at least it is cutting on both flutes. I guess that was okay. Now I'm going to take this out of the chuck and cut it with a hacksaw over here. I could have used the 4-way tool post and a parting tool, but I didn't feel like risking 2 disappointments today. That will probably come later on when I try the original Dickson quick change tool post. Well, that's a nice thing for a change. The coolant pump started spontaneously working again. Wasn't expecting that. I'm cutting off a little bit more than absolutely needed, because the blade isn't that sharp anymore, and it might not cut straight anymore. I'll be right back. I'm going for dinner now. And I'm back. That cutoff is straighter than I expected. Looks like it's already starting to rust. Well, let's turn this down on my vintage black lathe. About 9mm. Let's turn it down to 4.5, or maybe a bit less. Oh nee toch? Dat zult wel een weer hebben. I got some positive news, and I made a humongous mistake, extremely stupid. I've been using this new frequency drive and using the buttons on the display to control it, and this is basically the same drive as the other lathe has, but I completely forgot that I set up an external on-off switch, and I didn't realize I was making that mistake even when I made that configuration change on the old Allen Bradley drive. Yep, that must be the stupidest thing I've done in years. Let's continue. I'll get over this. Oh, a bit of oil for the bearings. Oops. That was a bit ambitious cut. Too ambitious. It moved a little. I got some emery cloth here to protect the part. don't think I tightened up all 3 jaws. Time to restart. Let's pretend this never happened. Just like the other thing. It never happened. Feels like this blue nano insert is cutting better than the other. About 6mm. Terrible. Just terrible. The OD is already very close to the size it needs to be. I'll do the same to the other side and then I'll test fit. Looks like the chuck jaw damaged the part here a little bit. And here is the finished article. It has a little bit of side-to-side play. I was going to take the compound to the other lathe and make it fit, but that was no longer possible. I had already taken off too much material. I might try and fill it up with some knurling, but when you look at the 4-way tool post, it also has some side-to-side play. I did file off that bite mark from the jaw with a diamond file. Hopefully it still fits. That feels like roughly the same amount of side-to-side play as with the 4-way tool post. To be honest, I'm not really happy with this result, and I'm not really looking forward to trying this with the parting tool. But rest assured, I am going to test it. And finally I have arrived where I can try parting off something using this original Dickson quick change holder. I think the circumstances are pretty much the same as with the HBM tool post, although the stick out of the workpiece might be slightly less. As you can see, I used this ruler to set the center height, and like before, I used the spanner for some extra leverage to lock things up tightly. This one has also been locked down properly. And I think I'm pretty much ready to go. Exciting stuff. Well, exciting. There's certainly a little bit of tension here. Remember, I was able to part this off using the 4-way tool post and the same tool bit. I did drill a 10mm hole into the workpiece, as the parting off tool is actually a grooving tool and it is too short to get to the center of the workpiece. Alright, let's do this. I'm using some engine oil as my oil pot dried out. And I still need to buy some real cutting oil. Setting the lathe to 110 RPM. And now I'm ready. But first I need to take a piss. Well, gotta start at some point, or I'll never finish this video. Okay, here we go. I think I'm advancing the crosslight slower this time. I must admit that disaster from last time got me a little bit scared. Increasing the speed a little. Almost there. A few more minutes at this rate. Haha, there it is. Victory. Let's see. It's not even really hot. There it is. Thank God that went successful. I just noticed that these mating surfaces are not lined up properly. It's higher on this end. I wonder if that was always the case or if it moved during parting off. So that's not really flush. And over here the holder is even higher. I will polish this up a bit, install the chain and wear it around my neck as a reminder of my success. The women will be impressed. And now, after reinstalling the holder, it looks even lower. And this side might have come up a little. I don't know, maybe this holder is a bit crooked. It is very old after all. Well, I'm not going to be bothered with it for now. I will celebrate my victory and edit this video. It's probably going to break a record as the longest video ever, for me that is. So I'm going to leave it like this. Till next time. Bye. This package arrived for me yesterday. Well, let's call it a present in this case, because I'm actually a little bit excited about this. You know the feeling you had as a kid that actually came back for a short while. Kinda nice. About 3 weeks ago I got an email from Banggood asking me if I wanted something for their upcoming birthday. Apparently they have all kinds of promotions planned for next month, and they were looking for some people to review and promote some Banggoods. But what really stuck with me from that email was the fact that apparently there was 50% more budget for review products. I never knew there was a budget, but the greedy son of a bitch in me decided to ask for something cool, something expensive, something I could use to make my videos a little better. Anyway, I got some unboxing to do.